Hello, Aries, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of November 16th through the 22nd. And during that time, we'll have a waning crescent moon. And, that's a good time for surrender, rest, healing, a time to just let go, rest, and get ready for the new cycle ahead, which starts on the 20th with the new moon. So that energy usually lasts for a couple of days. And new moon energy is about a fresh start, new beginnings, good time to just kind of let go of everything and start new projects, start new things, and move forward into the next cycle. So keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Aries. So as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message here from the Moonology deck: surrender to the divine. All right, let's see what the Aries Collective has going on for the week. As I'm shuffling, I would like to say that my fun reminder for you this week is that you learn something new. This is a good time during the new moon to just kind of pick a topic that's maybe, been on your periphery, something that you've had a little bit of general interest in, just really haven't taken the time to go, deep dive into. That's what I was trying to say. And just go learn something new. Set aside a couple of hours for yourself, a little bit of quiet time, do some reading, maybe watch a lecture, but just do a little deep dive, maybe take notes, but really take time to absorb something that you've had some curiosity in. And that is just my fun weekly reminder for you. So, all right, let's get into this reading. Aries, November 16th through the 22nd. Surrender to the divine. Your overall present energy right now is you're feeling a little bit like you against the world here with the Seven of Wands. So, whatever's going on with you now, you're kind of feeling a little bit of struggle. You're feeling like, you're just in it alone, and whatever struggle that you're having, again, you're just feeling like you against the world. Your current situation right now is you're also having a little bit of victory. So maybe it is you against the world, but for good reason. Like, haha, I was right. I'm kind of getting that feeling. Like, but you're kind of, this is also celebrated by your community. So these cards are kind of contradictory to each other, that it's you against the world, but you're also being celebrated. So that'll make sense to some of you. It's a little confusing to me to pull out those cards together like that, but we'll see as these cards come out. Maybe something will show up that makes a little bit more sense of that entire situation. At the root of your situation, oh look, more wands here with the Two of Wands. So looks like you have attained some sort of goal, and you're kind of pondering right now, or do you want to move forward or kind of stay where you are? And these could be the struggles that you are facing. You might have people telling you, oh yeah, you need to move ahead and do this thing, and you're, I don't really want to, but I've had this success, so that might make that. But look at all the wands showing up for you. A lot of fire for you, Aries. In your recent past is the Empress card. So this is our card of ultimate creativity. This is really, putting time and energy into something that takes a long time to come to fruition. And this, because it's in your past, I always have to say this is also our card of pregnancy and, the ultimate creation of pregnancy and childbirth. So, it could be something having to do with a child, but it also could be something having to do with your job or creative project. It's something that you've put a lot of time and energy into and a lot of thought into before it happens. But it's something you're also very passionate about with all of these wands here. What is on your mind this week is the Tower. So you may have had some sort of disruption come in that's made you think of all these things. Are you feeling like you against the world? What sort of disruption has happened in your world lately that has made you think, do I want to stay where I am? Do I want to move ahead? All of these different wand feelings, it's something that you're passionate about. And I do see, sometimes those disruptors are just lessons for us to learn. And, we just wouldn't learn them. So, a tower can be, it's like a rude awakening, but, it can be, just it's something that makes you think. And so usually not when you're in it, by the way. Usually when you're in it, you're just kind of managing things and plodding along, and usually a little upset that it happened. It might have been something unexpected, or even something that you might have seen coming, but you just didn't think it was going to happen, that sort of thing. But it's always, it's always about the lesson. And many times that's hard to do while you're in the middle of it. So, if you have a crazy things going on this week with some sort of disruption, give it a little time to settle down so that you can look back on it at some point and say, okay, what did I learn from that? Because all that does is when you learn that lesson, it prevents it from happening again in the future. So pay attention to that. And speaking of your future, just ahead of you this week is the Emperor. So we have the feminine and the masculine of the ultimate creativity and building. The Emperor is the most stable card in the major arcana. This is someone who is a builder, who knows how to get things done, who does things in a very systematic manner. And the Emperor, a tower to the Emperor is really not a big deal. I like to talk to my kids about things when it comes to challenges. I feel like there's an age and also a wisdom thing that happens. And it's just maturity. And it's that a thing that happens in your 20s that might just be like, it might wreck your life for a week. It happens in your 30s and you're like, yeah, that's a pain in the butt. Okay, whatever, got to deal with it. 40s, you're kind of like, yeah, okay, that happens. And then by the time that you're into your 50s, you're like, yeah, that's like a blip, not a big deal. And so our level of maturity and age and wisdom, and I'm sure it has to do with a lot of other things, just life stability, finances, that sort of thing, as things just stable out as you're growing and growing. But I think also as you're learning those lessons, you just learn to not be that affected by it. So depending on where you are, and that doesn't always have to be related to age. I think it is maturity level and kind of your consciousness. Are you consciously aware of the lessons that you are learning when you're having those tower moments, so that you don't have to what happens is you just don't have to be confronted with them again once you learn the lesson. So learn those lessons. But anyway, just ahead of you is this energy of really being stable, being able to conquer things. I see this as kind of an emotional maturity thing, that even though you might look back and say, oh, 10 years ago this would have wrecked me, but now it's like, yeah, okay, this is what's happening. So I hope that made sense. That was a lot of babbling, my apologies. In your advice position here is, yeah, there's something that you are done with, and be done with it. Be done, because again, once you learn how to put that away and you're done with it, you're not going to be presented with it again. It's like you're learning that lesson. So kind of look back on whatever this tower, whatever this big disruption, and think back through your life. How many times have I had to manage and deal with this disruption specifically? I doubt it's a first. And you might have been two, three, four, depending on how long it's taking you to learn. And then what you want to do is also apply that to other things that might be going on in your life. Like, oh, this thing keeps reoccurring too. What if I learn that lesson? Will it stop? Yeah, it will. That's my advice for you there. What is beyond your control this week is some judgment. So, of course you're going to make a judgment, but to me, judgment is about new awareness. It's about learning a thing. It's about coming to some sort of truth. Uh, this is about the evolution of learning something, and of course you're going to make a judgment about it, but that's a new awareness, that's new, and you're going to decide, yeah, I'm not doing this thing anymore because it leads to this thing, right? And you're finally going to learn that lesson. It's just about learning truth. So that's a good thing, actually, even though again it seems like a pain when you're in the middle of it. What is your secret desire? What you're trying to avoid is, of course, the Nine of Swords is some anxiety. So I would imagine that you are trying to avoid this. I don't think it's anyone's secret desire to have sleepless, anxious nights, but you're trying to avoid that. And I will tell you, you avoid that best by taking on the Emperor energy, by being in control, by being a leader, by having a clear vision of how you all the things that you need to do to manage this disruption. And also this Empress energy, which, I forgot to talk about her a minute ago too, but you've got the Emperor and the Empress, which is the male and female of creativity, getting things done, doing things for the long term that are good for you. And you've got those, in your past and future here. So, it's definitely, you're right in the middle trying to make these decisions that, again, when you get 10 years down the road, will not be a big deal to deal with and manage. It might be a little bit more today. In your outcome position, Wheel of Fortune, this is you evolving, and again, this is kind of, it reminds me of this judgment card a little bit too, because it is about new awareness and it's evolving, it's learning the lesson. You're totally learning whatever lesson this is for you this week. And what is the song? This card reminds me of the wheel in the sky keeps turning. I don't know where I'll be tomorrow. And that's because towers happen and they come along, they blindside us, they change us forever. And all of a sudden we're just different. All of a sudden we're a different person. And all of a sudden the world around us is different because we've evolved, we've changed, we enter into things with a new awareness. So what is hidden from you at the bottom of the deck this week is the King of Pentacles. So this is knowledge about money is one of them, of course, because it's pentacles, but also knowledge about just the material world. So I feel like that's going to be, this is hidden from you this week is this knowledge. So I feel like that's probably where your lesson is. There's either going to be and I would say that this tower moment may involve something financial. It may be something, some fraudulent thing on your credit card. It may be some investment that you made that didn't work out the way you wanted it to be, and you were planning on that money. So it could be money related, but also could be material related to your home, your environment. Something goes wrong. The dishwasher was making a sound last week. You didn't fix it and it broke this week. So it's about seeing those things, being able to kind of take care of things before they get too big, right? But that's what's hidden from you today is kind of, or this week is that knowledge, that king knowledge of the suit. So think of all the things that the pentacles represent. Like I said, money, material things, your home environment, anything that's tangible, anything that you can touch. I'm going to guess that that's probably where your tower is. Maybe it's something with your car. I mean, that's where this tower is probably going to revolve, and your lack of knowledge around it is going to exacerbate it a little bit. But again, we're going to learn, we're going to have judgments, and we're going to not stress about it, let it go, and let yourself evolve. And next time this tower will be much easier to deal with. So Aries, I hope that works out for you this week. I know towers can be a pain in the butt, but surrender to the divine. Why? Because that's what we're here to do. We're here learning, and we're here learning those lessons that happen to all of us every day. So count your blessings, look around. I'm sure whatever it is that you're going through, I guarantee you someone else has it worse off than you. So you have to stop and count your blessings a little bit. So, all right, Soul Oracle deck for some final words here for Aries. A final message for Aries: make better choices. Wow. Okay. I'm not pointing the finger at you, but like I said about the dishwasher example, it was making a sound last week. I thought it was fine. Boom. Now there's water all over my kitchen. Make better choices and think about this tower thing again. While you're not, don't do this while you're in it, but in the future, you do need to look back and say, oh, okay, ultimately that was my mistake because this material thing didn't work out because of a thing I did or didn't do. So you're going to learn that lesson. You're going to become older and wiser. And again, Wheel of Fortune, you don't know where you'll be tomorrow because of it, hopefully in a better place. So, all right, self-care this week for Aries. What does Aries need to do for self-care in the middle of this tower? And the card that comes out for you is intention. What if the only resolution you made was to love yourself more? Okay, love yourself through this is really the message there. That's all you can do. If things are happening, don't let yourself, be too anxious and get sleepless nights over that. Let it go, learn the lesson, move on, and evolve to be the better thing. So, Aries, thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that something in this reading will help you in this week. I'm so sorry that you're going through a tower moment right now. Again, we all do. Look around, try to find, just try to find the positive. This is something I've tried to do my whole life is, half glass full, half empty kind of deal. Half full is really the better way to go if you can muster up the energy to do that in the middle of a crisis and look around and say, you know what, yeah, this is bad, but there are other people that have it way worse, because I guarantee you that is definitely the truth. So if you're comfortable sharing, drop me a comment down below. Let me know, what was your tower moment? Did you work through it? Do you feel like it was a lesson learned, something that you can prevent in the future so that you don't have to manage that again? Also, if you like my reading style, Aries, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps my channel, but more importantly, it'll help you find me next week, where you can come back and we can see what happens in this story. So thanks so much, Aries, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.